Hey, what's up you wonderful people, and welcome to Wondrous Lantern Gaming, where I touch up on all things gaming. This is going to be part of my tutorial series, my tips and tricks, that sort of thing, and today's tips and trick is going to be dealing with the game No Man's Sky and variant types, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so here I am in my testing, tips, tricks room, whatever you want to call it. And there are two things that I would really like to cover up on today. And one of them actually came up while I was already going to try and make this video before. And I realized something while I was making that, so there's a reason why there's going to be like a bonus thing that I'm going to touch up on. Those two things that I really want to talk about today are, within the variant types, are one, the resource management portion of them. And something that I don't know if a lot of players know this, especially if you're new here. And two, the variant type placement. So let's touch up on the first one. So as you can see, I am here standing next to these timber slopes, and you'll notice that these four pieces are different in aesthetics except for these two. However, I can assure you that they are different. Now, I will go into my editing mode and I will hover over it, and you can actually see what it says. It says target part, sloping timber panel. Now over here, it says the same thing except for, you'll notice, parentheses base. And next to that is going to be parentheses mid and parentheses top. These are the variant types. So if I go into the menu, and any of the icons that have this pause, this yellow pause symbol at the top left, that means it's the variant type. To also check to see if you can actually see if an item is a variant type, you could hover your selector over it, meaning if you're on PC, just your little mouse icon, like I'm moving it around right here. Or if you're on console, anytime you're hovering or highlighting an item in your menus, you'll notice this menu that pops up. You can press the button that correlates with the view variants, and it should open a folder of sorts, and usually it will show you three different types. It will show you the parentheses base, parentheses mid, and parentheses top. I do not know if that goes with every single variant type, but from my experience, that's any of the types that I have seen does base, mid, and top. So the resource part, if you notice while I hover over this, you see how it says 10 out of 10 carbon, but if I hover over the other ones, it says 25, 25, and 25. The reason why this is important, so if you're in survival mode, or you're into resource management like I am, you want to know how much you're spending or saving, or if you really don't care about the aesthetics at all, you might want to keep in mind what you're going to be placing down. Like I said, any of the ones that open the folder of sorts or have the icon at the top left are the variant type, meaning you open the list and it comes off of that. I'm going to call this the parent. The parent doesn't have parentheses in the title. See how this one just says thin timber wall, no parentheses? Then you have the same way. Thin timber wall, parentheses base, thin timber wall, parentheses mid, thin timber wall, parentheses top. And to even go even one step further, hovering over this, it says the same thing, and base, mid, and top. And to cover up on the resource management part of this tutorial, or tips and tricks, if I was to press X on the one that doesn't have the parentheses here, or delete it as it says up there, it's going to give me 10 carbon back, as you see right there at the top right. If I was to get rid of this, it will say 25. And if any of the ones that have the parentheses, it's going to say 25 back. The reason for this is because the menu item, as you can see, if you hover over it, it says 10 of 10 carbon, but any one of the actual types with the parentheses are going to be 25. This isn't for all of the items, so I would always double check if you're a builder like I am and you want to place down something specific, or you're trying to do your resource management, make sure what you're putting down. And it doesn't happen with every single variant type or parent. As I can show you here, the parent for the timber wall, it says 25 of 25, but if I open the variant types, it's going to say 25 of 25 for the base, 25 of 25 for the mid, and 25 of 25 for the top. I just hope you guys liked that part of it, and that's something that maybe if you're into, you might like. And this goes beyond just the timber. This also goes with the stone, and this also goes with the alloy. And I'm pretty sure, I think the Atlantidium as well. So let me actually show you what I mean. So over here, I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variants, or my different pieces that I wanted to show you. So let me go into my build mode and hover over this. It says thin timber wall base, thin timber wall mid, and thin timber wall top. The reason why you want to keep track of the resource management is this one's going to give you 10 back, but this one is going to give you 25, even though these are both aesthetically the same piece. And that's going to go into the second part, but I will actually prove my point even again. So let me delete this. It's going to give me 10 back. And the rest of these are going to give me 25 each. So if I delete all of these quickly, it's going to give me 75 back. There you go. And this happens with any of the thin walls that I've noticed. So like this thin stone wall, it's going to give me 10 silicate powder back. But these, if I add it together, are going to give me 75, meaning they give me 25 back each. There you go. Here we go with the thin alloy walls. 10 back, 10 ferrite dust back. The rest is going to give me 25 each. Here's the Atlantidium. This one will give me 10 back, or sorry, 5. And this one I think is 8 or 10. I can't remember. Okay, so 12, 24, and 36. So 12 back per the regular Atlantidium thin walls. And these ones are the stone doorway. So silicate powder, there you go. So I have got 85 out of that, meaning I had the original 75, so the 25 per the 3 regular, and the remaining amount for the parent. And the same goes with this, the timber doorways. So you see up there, it's top right, 10 carbon, 25, 50, and that is going to be 75. So just keep that in mind when you're placing down any of those variant types, what you're going to be building and what aesthetic you're really going to be going for. And that goes into my second part of these tips and tricks. It has to deal with how variant types are placed. So variant types are based on layering, meaning anytime you're putting the parent on top of a layer, it is going to correspond with the layer that you're working with. Let's say this flooring right here would be layer 0, okay? And if you had, let's say, a floor above here, it would be layer 1, layer 2, etc., etc. But it kind of only goes up to 3 because every single variant type that I've noticed goes up to 3s. So you got the base, the mid, and the top. Even though these walls here are aesthetically similar or the same, they are not the same. And I will prove it here. There's the top one here with the parentheses, meaning that one is designed to look like this no matter where I place this. Meaning I could place this on top of this, and it would still be the top. I could place it back down here, and it will still be the top. This one, if I hover over it, it's going to say no parentheses, but still give me the timber wall. The timber wall top, timber wall, even though aesthetically it should not look like this. And if I go over here again, another timber wall. So the reason why these first two look the same but have different names is because of their layering. The top one here has nothing under it, meaning there's no layer, no wall under it. So if I was to place a wall under it, it would still be the top because I selected this piece, and I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. However, if I was to come over here, I will show you there is a wall under this part. So if I was to delete this wall, it will turn into the base aesthetic. I will show you right now. Notice how the wall changed. The aesthetic changed completely. But if I was to take my timber wall top and put it over, they're going to be the same. But let's say I duplicate this one and I want to put it on top. So the reason why this top still looks like the top and that one looks like the top as well, even though it is the same name, is because the way that they're layered and the fact that this one is a designated piece. That's what I'm going to call the variant types that you select through the menu. The designated pieces are the ones with the parentheses in their name. By that I mean, if I was to place this down, you see how that changed into the top? If I was to duplicate this and put it on top, all of these are now aesthetically different. You have the base aesthetic, the mid aesthetic, and the top aesthetic. And to prove this to you, I'm just going to go into the menu and I'm going to build them right next to each other, even though, as I would have shown you, these do not have parentheses in their name. These are the variant type or the parent. But let me place down the designated pieces and show you. There's the base aesthetic, the mid aesthetic, and the top aesthetic. They're colored differently because I put them in by default like this, but let me color them the same. There you go. So even though these walls look exactly the same based off their layering, they are not the same because of the name, right? So you have the mid here, you see the name there, no mid there. You see no parentheses here, parentheses base, no parentheses here, and parentheses top. And it's all on the layer that you're working with. Let me show you why this one is the top, because this one has 2 layers below it. Okay, you got the thin timber wall, or sorry, the timber wall here, timber wall and timber wall, because these are the parents. That's the parent type. Let me place down an example of the parent here, parent there, and parent there. So you got a parent base, you got a parent mid, and the parent top. Notice how they're all aesthetically different. However, let's say if I was to go into there and just place down the base, right? So let me place down the base on each layer. But yeah, notice how these 3 look the same because I designated those pieces to look like that. But if I was to go into the parent, it was just going to give me what the parent icon was going to be based off that layer. Another reason why it's important to know this is because if you go into some of the icons themselves, they do not always correlate with what you get. One of the examples, or culprits of this, I should say, would have to be this thin timber wall here. The icon already shows you the mid, right? But usually, because most people are working on the first layer, or the layer 0, they're getting the base aesthetic. I'll prove it to you. So we got the parent there, and there's that, and here's that. All aesthetically different. If I was to go in and put base down, notice how that's all base. If I was to put in the mid all looks different. And let's put the top. So this is the parent layer, this is the base layer, mid layer, and top layer. If you don't really care about the aesthetics of it and you're trying to save resources, just click on the parent icon. Don't even have to worry about the variant types. Just click on it and place it. But if you do care and you want to have your walls look different than just, you know, corresponding to the layer, and you have the resources to build it, I would suggest opening the layer like this and go to the wall that you wish to place down. Alright, so that does it today for tips, tricks, and tutorials for No Man's Sky. I hope I covered some information that you may not have known, or helped you out with how layering works or variant types works. I hope you guys please have a great day, and as always, stay wonderful.